All right, day number 7, curse story. I am unlucky from birth. Ever since I was born, I'm unlucky. Life has been totally unfair to me. Oh my gosh. I was born on the 13th, Friday, like when the black cats roam around in the street. I had the most horrible life. That happened to me. I was sick when I was a child. And my parents told me I was always crying when I was born. And obviously, all the kids cry. That's what they do. That's how you breathe, right? And then in my kindergarten, I got an F grade. Who would get an F grade on kindergarten? I have been so unlucky, because what happened was, you come up with stories like that. I've been a very unlucky person. This is a curse story. This is a curse story that's limiting you from claiming your highest destiny. It's time to let it go. If you want to do it, I'm not going to force you to. I'm going to inspire you, hopefully, to do that. But if you're ready to, this is a story that you could get rid of today. You excited about getting rid of that? If that's the case, write down, I'm excited in the chat, so that we could do this together. Understand this. Your brain understands pressure and intensity. That's all it understands. So there are some neurons in your brain that gets excited, some neurons in your brain that get suppressed. So some neurons get excited. So when you're happy, some neurons will be like, they're very excited, dancing. And when you're sad, some other neurons are basically pulling your emotion back. Right? So there are activating neurons and deactivating neurons. So what happens is, so when you get really excited, how do you imagine there is a car that is going on a cliff, it's going like this, and all of a sudden the acceleration goes up and up and up, and it reaches 150 miles. It doesn't stop. It goes to 200 miles per hour, and 250, boom, it's gone. How would the brain stop you from experiencing too much happiness or too much sadness? Because your brain, when the neurons that activates happiness, it reaches a certain point, then the opposite side of neurons will come and calm them down. So they are actually pulling them back. So they are working together to figure out how to calm you down. Otherwise, you'll be like happy. Oh my gosh, I cannot handle it. Sad. All of a sudden, it's complete sadness. So what you do is understand that your brain can understand only intensity. So when it sees too much intensity, it actually balances it, neurologically balanced. This is a neurological phenomenon. So there are different terms that neurologists use for it, but suppressors and activators, you could look for that, and you'll understand more details about different neurons. And different parts of the brain has different type of neurons that will handle these things. For example, the front area of your brain generally are neurons that will calm you down, because the lower part of your brain gets too emotional about stuff. Oh my gosh, this happened. So let me give you an example. Mike Tyson's so angry, he's fighting, and all of a sudden he gets so mad, he rips, he bites somebody's ear, right? And bites it out. What happened? It's called an amygdala attack. So what is an amygdala attack? Amygdala attack is the amygdala, which is an almond-sized small part of your brain in the back, the bottom part from the primitive old emotional brain. It goes so activated, it said, you know what? I'm going to handle this. That's what he's doing. And he's rewarded so much for fighting. His brain is like, okay, you could do it. Believe in yourself and go do it. And he takes the ear off completely, or almost completely. It's an amygdala hijack, and it's a technical term. You could look up this thing. So amygdala hijack is a way which your brain is like hijacking. The lower part of the brain is like, okay, I got it. Let me go and take this up. What didn't happen is the prefrontal cortex, the front part of his brain, did not handle calming down the particular emotion he was feeling. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have any questions, put that in the chat. So that's what brain understands. Brain saves data in your brain in the database as, instead of zeros and ones, the zeros and ones are sequential. which means it's a story. The only way brain understands what is happening in the world is through stories. So imagine like Mike Tyson bit somebody's ear. It's a story. In his brain, it's a story. I think it was Holyfield or whoever it was. Doesn't matter. It does matter for him, but not. It matters for Mike Tyson too. But the point is, if for this example, it doesn't matter. Somebody's ear was bit, right? And it becomes a story for him. Oh my gosh, boxing, it's not fun. It's painful. It's a negative intensity experience. That's for him. Right? For Mike Tyson, it's like, I'm winning. And she's like starting to feel guilty. Right? So we have a really complicated neutralizing system. It's like you have fire alarms in the thing. If there is a fire, the fire alarm goes off, all of a sudden we could get out of the house. Same way, you have probably seen in like big buildings, you might have seen like fire hydrants. Fire hydrants are basically the things that are on the top. And if the temperature goes up, the fire hydrant goes off. All of a sudden, what happens is there is sprinkling water everywhere, and all of a sudden the building is calm. That is exactly what your brain is supposed to do. So if you're unlucky from birth, what is happening is you built a story based on the fires that you had in your life. And when you had one fire in your life, maybe a health issue, maybe something happened to one of your parents, or something else happened, somebody abused you, somebody did something, all of a sudden that is creating a fire in you. And then that fire is activating another fire, and that fire is activating another fire. So there is a series of fires. It's as if like in California, give you an example, California, if there's a small fire, it becomes a 1 acre fire, and then it becomes 5 acre fire. Sometimes it becomes 100 acre fires, then it becomes a 30,000 acre fire. What happened? It's not because California is unlucky, but some guy did a gender reveal party with fires and then started a spark. And then that story continued without a limit. There's nothing to limit it, which is what you're going to do today. Does that make sense? Hopefully, I'm not saying it too fast. Hopefully you got it. I'm trying to give as many examples because this is not an easy concept. But once you understand it, once you're able to implement it, your brain can change it. But here's the important thing. It created a story, a saga of fire creation. There's not enough fire hydrants. There's not enough fire alarms. So your brain allowed failure to happen multiple times. And you're like, oh my gosh, I had this thing, I had this health issue, I had that thing, are you saying I am doing this? Screw you. Like, how could you say that? My life is horrible. And you're like, oh, like it's because you did this thing. This is not answered for everything. But I'm saying it's possible for most people in life. It's possible that if you had something bad happen to you, the probability of it happening again is higher because your brain has figured out a way to remanifest it, which is what we want to avoid. And I'm trying to help you. And if you did this and still you had a problem, it's something that like, I don't know all the answers for life, but I have most of the answers. So I'm trying to help you figure this particular piece out. If you fail multiple times in business, it's not because of bad luck. But if you had like genetic issues with your health, I don't have an answer to that. Why did it come? What's the meaning for it? I haven't figured that piece out. But in life, like some people die early, some people die late, but that's not something that we could control. But if you think that you're unlucky for life, it's time to change that. You open to it? Cool? Okay, let's get started. So we have two types of stories. One is curse stories, another one is blessing stories. You want to go deep into it, go back to my videos. This is a series, go watch it and come back. Curse stories are stories that are limiting you, pulling you backward. Blessing stories are stories that are pulling you forward. If you believe that your life has been unlucky, you have evidences to support that. So it's like you have activated a certain part of your brain. This is not literally what happens, but I'm giving you an example. And all of a sudden, that failure thing is triggered again and again and again. Right? You're asking questions that activates failure again and again. You're creating emotions that creates failure again and again. You're setting up emotion and like you are manifesting failures and again. It's unfortunate, and I'm not blaming you for your life. I'm asking you to find a way to take responsibility and move on. Okay, hopefully you don't feel like I'm blaming you. I'm not blaming you. Whatever happened in your life, it happened. let's figure out it doesn't happen again. Makes sense? So if you have been unlucky, if you think that you have been unlucky, look at that story of your life, the things that happened, probably the 3 things that happen in your life that make you feel that you have been unlucky. Look at that. And what else could it mean? And if you have been listening to this video, I'm going to do the same thing for all of this. So this way, I'm helping people find their freedom from different problems, right? So which means that I can do it in different ways, which I will do in the next coming months, coming years. But this is about story. I'm going to stick with that script and only that. That's how we're going to do it. So if you have been watching it, you're getting better and better at it. I'll try to make it slightly customized every time so that you know you're getting more and more angular perspective look into this thing. But what's the meaning that you have right now? By the way, every story has 3 meanings, 3 elements behind the scene. One is there's a meaning, there's an emotion, there's a context. What's the meaning of this story? The story that I'm being unlucky. Oh, I stepped on a cat and fell down. I'm sure it was a bad experience for cat too, especially if you're big like me. Okay, but instead of what else could it mean? The things that you experience in life, are you collecting it together? Imagine if you're collecting it together and then creating another bad experience in your life by having this meaning. What else could this mean to you? So that you don't need to continue this chain reaction of failure or unluckiness. What else could it mean that could free you? These things happened. It happened. What else could it mean? Something that is empowering. Maybe the first third of my life was probably unlucky, but it means that every valley has a hill. So you have gone through the valley enough, you're ready for the hill. Maybe that's what it means. What else could it mean? What else could it mean? Maybe you are building enough life experience in the first half of your life so that the second half is profound. What else could it mean? Maybe you're going to find a partner who could help you to find your highest destiny. A friend, a business partner, a spouse, a lover. And then you're getting prepared for that by going through these uncertain experiences. So you will have humility and gratitude in life. What else could it mean? That you're feeling like unlucky in life. What else could it mean? And what is a new emotion when you think about it? Could you feel gratitude that you had finished your suffering? You finished your suffering in advance. You collected all of them together. By the time you're 25, you are done with suffering. You don't need to suffer anymore. By choice, you are experiencing and embracing joy from now on. What a beautiful way to live. What is the emotion? You feel joy, you feel gratitude, you feel love, you feel loved, you feel humble. What is a new emotion for this? Beautiful. Put that in the chat right now. What is a new emotion for that? Now, finally, what is the context of all this? What does this all mean? This whole thing of experiencing this painting of life, and half of it is done. The left half is done. The second half, you could paint it. You're the painter who's drawing currently. This painting is right now, right here, and you're painting it right now. And you don't need to copy paste the same painting from the left side to the right. You could create it right now by creating the new story. That is a new context. You could build luck by working hard. You could build luck by focusing on being lucky, by asking the question, why am I so lucky in life? Because all this time, I don't know whether you noticed, you have been asking the question, why am I so unlucky in life? Why am I so unlucky in love? Why am I so unlucky in finances? Why am I so unlucky in my health? Oh my gosh. And you're creating, knowingly or unknowingly, most probably knowing, not unknowingly, you're creating the unluckiness in your life. So instead, create this new painting on the right side by saying, how am I going to be so lucky? Why am I so lucky in the second part of my, second two-thirds of my life from today? And then do that painting. Do that painting, through that painting, build a story of, like I said, a business legend, a life legend, a career legend, an amazing human being who everybody remember as a person who's an example, a visionary, a person who's phenomenal in helping other people, by creating value for so many people, and build a business and help so many people in employment and empowered so many people and created value for his client, her clients. That story starts today, right now. I'll see you tomorrow.